And the group's on the way out for the Deluxe Waterfall Volcano tour here with Safari Helicopters today on the Big Island. It's the 21st of December, 1998. I got them lined up here. I'll throw a little shock of wave and a little dire straits going in this morning.
It was faster than the eye could follow, but all I can do is hand it to you and your latest trade.
Okay, is everybody with me there? And before we go, we got one more safety briefing we have to do. And to get out of this thing's the same door as we came in. And right behind your elbow there, or else that door handle rolls forward to open the door. And there's a emergency exit on both forward cabin doors. Just break this glass tab off and pull up on the orange handle and the door's history. It's kind of a one-shot thing, so only do that if it's really an emergency. And open the one on this side, just push the handle down, the door swings out. And on your side, that black knob there pulls up and back, and then the door slides back like a van door. There's a fire extinguisher on the floor right here beside me, and it's a non-smoking flight, so if anybody lights up, just pull the pin, aim it at the base of the flame, and squeeze the handle, and don't forget to sweep it side to side. Okay, and there's a first aid kit underneath the right rear seat, emergency locator transmitters in the left rear baggage box. And is everybody styling with a nice little yellow pouch and a briefing on how to use it? Okay. And the next is microphone etiquette. These are nothing like the ones on Oprah. You gotta push this little button right here and hold it while you talk and then let go of it when you're not talking. And let's see, Bridget, you wanna grab the microphone and tell us where you're from? You gotta hold it really close to your mouth.
Yeah, my name is Bridget and I'm from Miami.
Okay, and Earl?
I'm Earl and I'm also from Miami.
Okay.
And by the way, if she grabs your knee by accident, she's sort of programmed that way, okay?
Oh, okay.
No problem?
No problem. Okay.
Aloha.
Okay, and just stick it in the rack there, and we got Al and Charlie in the back there.
This is Al. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and with the Bellarmine basketball team here for the Classic being played in town.
All right. And Charlie?
Yeah, I'm Charlie, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky as well.
Okay, and we got Brenda and Brock.
I'm Brock from Encinitas, California.
Brenda from Carlsbad.
Okay, my name's Ed, and I'm a Colorado cowboy that got drafted during the Vietnam War, and I just never took up honest work after that because I learned how to fly helicopters. And as soon as I get some clearance, we'll be on the way. I'd like to ask you not to use the microphones for about the next 5 minutes or so because the tower gets really grouchy when I miss their calls. After that, feel free to ask questions, but I don't know the answer. I'll make up something that sounds good at least. And just in case you're wondering, I've never used anything on that safety briefing for the last 31 years, and my goal is to do that one more day. Hey, you thought we were going to listen to Dire Straits for the next hour, didn't you? And you're probably wondering just how big is the Big Island, right? Actually about 2,000 square miles. You take the area of the Big Island and put the rest of the Hawaiian Island chain inside of it, you'd have room left for one more, a little bit smaller than Oahu. The Big Island's not real heavily populated though, about 122,000 people on the whole island, and out of those about 55,000 live here in the Hilo area.
What is the crop just below us here?
Just below us is just trees.
Off to the left here.
Those are papaya trees, most of them there. There's also some, those ones that's got a lot of yellow on them are pineapple. Just off our nose is the Mauna Loa Magnut Farm. According to their account, about 22,000 macadamia nut trees in that orchard there. I haven't actually verified the count on that, though. I'm just taking the word off the brochures. They wouldn't lie about something like that, though, would they? The buildings down to the left here, this plant is a processing plant for Mauna Loa company, where they take the macadamia nuts to turn them into the Gucci of nuts. And if you want to take the tour in there, they'll be glad to show you around and let you go to the gift shop and buy factory direct macadamia nuts at just a little bit above the normal retail price. And this mill off the right there with the smokestack is the old sugar mill. Our last sugar crop was actually about 6 years ago, but notice there's still smoke coming out of the stack. My theory is that's where they're taking the macadamia nuts to put the extra calories in. I mean, think about it. One little nut that big, around 100 to 120 calories. That's got to be a conspiracy. There's no way it can be natural. I figure what they're going to do in about 5 years, they'll say introducing the even more exorbitantly priced low-calorie macadamia nut, and that's when the big profit's going to kick in for them. You know, another thing that would clear up is, you notice you go to Safeway and everything on the shelf, they're supposed to be low calorie, but they don't ever say where the calories went, right? Got to be going somewhere with them. This little bay down to the left there, the house and park there, is shipments, and then a little point right there is Cololi Point, and then the one that's just going to be coming into view here is as soon as we get past this little puffy cloud, it'll be Cape Kumakahi. That's the easternmost tip of the island right there. And there's a fault line that starts right there at the Cape and actually runs all the way across the island. And once we get past these clouds, you'll start seeing this little row of hills along the ridge there. That's the chain of craters that was formed when the lava from the Kilauea volcano system intruded that fault line. And since our normal route through there is a little bit plugged up with a rain shower, now we're going to go around that way so you get a little better look at the chain of craters than we do on most of the tours. All these tanks that are down there to the left, and see that cluster up there, that's the aquaculture research center for the University of Hawaii. Hilo is operating that. Basically what they do there is take shellfish there and see how much you can abuse them and still have them be edible. And some of them aren't, you know, they just see what the threshold is. My wife's a marine biologist, so I never quit giving her grief about that. this little town that's off to our right there. It's kind of, just see part of it through the clouds there is Pahoa town. And the, you can also, as we get past this cloud, you'll see these little gray roof buildings. Those are anthurium and orchid nurseries right there. See them just as we're coming past the cloud. You can see it now. And Pahoa Town's one of those places that if you visit, you'll swear you just hit a time warp and got zapped back to the 60s. All the surfers there look like they just stepped out of Haight-Ashbury in 1968, complete with the Volkswagen pop-top vans. See the lighthouse right there, just to the right of the center of the cape there. You can see it just below the clouds. That's one of those places got kind of an interesting volcano story. The lava flowed right up to the base of that and it split, went around each side of it, never actually touched the lighthouse in 1974. See this row of mango trees going down there? That's where the road is to Kapoho. That's, that road for a long ways there is just sort of a tunnel road. And if you go down to the end of the road there, it'll take you down to that bay there that's where there's a boat launch, and it's kind of a, there's a state park there. A lot of people surf there. And then if you take a left and go just beyond that, about a mile on the red road, that'll take you to the the hot pots there. It's a geothermally heated tide pool you can go swimming in. This plant down to the left here is the Pohiki geothermal. They're making about 29% of the island's power off the geothermal energy with that plant right there. See the steam coming up. That's the entry point where the lava's flowing into the ocean down there. And this lava flow that's ahead of us there, that's flowing down between the houses there, is the 1955 flow. And from 1955 to from after the 55 flow south, you can't get any insurance against lava damage to your house, so pretty much a high-risk operation if you build out in that area. People are always asking how long it takes for the vegetation to come back and the lava flows. Well, here's a good example right here. This is 1955 lava, this big flow that we're coming across now. So starting to be a little bit come back in it. this beach that's down just past the village. There's not much of a beach. And some local name for it's the Bear Ass Beach. I don't know why they call it that, because I've been there several times. I've never seen one donkey or one bear there yet, but every once in a while you see somebody there that forgot their bathing suit. And this is the village of Kalapana right here ahead of us. That's or what's left of it. See that flow right there? That's where most of the village was. This is where the famous black sand beach that was the signature photo for the Big Island for years. And there's starting to be another black sand beach formed there. And, of course, it needs a lot of work before it'll be anywhere near as nice as the original one, but it's coming along. And the famous painted church, forgot to point out as I come down, I'll turn here a little bit and show it to you. Off to the right, see that past the turn in the road there, you can see that white building with the red parking lot. That's the painted church that was moved just ahead of the lava flows, and I mean just ahead of them. They seen pictures of, they had a house moving crew and they had the beams under it, and there was flowing lava about 75 yards away. I figure if this fellow down on the left didn't like having neighbors, he must have been living right, because it ate up most of the town of Kalapana and stopped at his front door. And see that brown rusty looking thing there to the left of the house in the lava flow? That's an old school bus that's buried up to the bottom of the windows in lava.
How does he get any kind of electricity, or does he not?
They're just using solar and generator backup. A lot of these houses didn't have electricity to start with out here. Some of these subdivisions, others did have it. Yeah. And see that subdivision over on the side of the hill over there? That's the Royal Garden subdivision, or what's left of it. The Royal Gardens used to come down almost to the beach, and it went over to the right quite a ways further than it is now. Between Royal Gardens and the town of Kalapana, there's about 215 homes destroyed in the lava flows. And there's a access road where you can drive across the lava fields and then get into the homes there. There was 9 homes that were still occupied in that thing a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago, but I was just talking to a pilot that was working with that. See that big red roof house on the left side of the thing there? They've worked a deal now. The helicopter companies can land there and drop off guests for them. And anyway, now it's there's only 2 other homes that are occupied in there besides him. So. This is one of the few places you get to see new real estate being made. The island's actually growing at the rate of about 4 acres a month right here. In the shade you can see the lava there by the steam. When the sun's shining on this stuff directly, the sun's so bright it just washes out the light that the lava's emitting. So even though you can see some surface breakouts there, it just has a glassy look to it. It doesn't look red when the sun's shining right on it. There you go. Notice all those rocks that are floating in the water, though. Those are pumice rocks. And they got big gas bubbles in them, or lots of little gas bubbles, and they pick one up, feels like a piece of balsa wood. It floats pretty well for a while, but it's pretty fragile, and it doesn't take it long to start taking on water, and it sinks. But that's what all those little floating things that are got the steam coming off, just pieces of pumice rock.
Ed, I'd say you still have some of that cowboy in you. That was great.
Okay. Okay, and see this lava that we're flying over right here? This is the this type of lava is called Hoy lava. And then the next stuff we got here is that's coming down the hill in the Three Fingers. That's called lava. And the way the forms is it actually starts the same place as the Pohoyhoy. It's just that as it flows along, it starts to cool, becomes more viscous, and then it starts flowing thicker, and it gets a crust on the top, and that crust starts breaking and mixing in. And that's how you end up with this really rough texture right here. It's nasty stuff to walk on. It's besides just being rough, it's a lot of sharp little jagged edges on those boulders. It takes a long time to weather off too. It's pretty nasty stuff to walk on. And you can see the row of smokes coming down the hill. That's where the lava tube's coming down from the Puho vent. And I was hoping this rain shower would move a little faster than it is, but we'll look at some skylights here on the base of the hill. Okay, and see this hole right here to the left? Now it's starting to show some lava. And there's another one right here. Come on. I got a new one that broke out here. get lined up on these just right, you can actually see the lava moving in there.
How thick do you think that crust is over those holes?
Some of it's pretty thin, you know, you can see it, it's only a few inches thick, and that's the only dangerous part about hiking out here and crossing the lava tube. You want to be sure to pick a place. If you're crossing the lava tube, always cross on a place where the rock is domed up like an arch, and you know, there's no absolutes in this stuff, but that's the safest bet. But you start following the tube and start going in the flat or the concave places, and this stuff breaks through under its own weight. That looks to me like that's probably about 8 inches thick right there, where it caved in. You can hear it though when you're walking on it. It has a hollow sound on it, you can tell. You can also actually hear the lava run along in the tube. It's kind of spooky. Doesn't require a lot of science to get the watching that guy there.
There's an island green and pretty, turned gray with concrete city, by missionaries who reached the land a long time ago. A country generated by men who think they made it, who trembles when sweet Pele lets it flow. Blow over concrete that would hide the sun, flow into the heart and soul of time. Return our paradise and glory to children who are yours and who are mine.
See the Royal Garden subdivision there.
From innocence we had a queen in prison.
There's right off her nose was a little small red roof building. That was the house that was beside that was in National Geographic. They had a photo of the lava running in the back door and out the front door. Of course, the house was fully engulfed in flames at the time. But
Concrete that would hide the sun, flow into the heart and soul of time. Return our paradise and glory to children who are yours and who are mine.
this hill right there, it's mostly covered by clouds, is the poor vent. But it's the stuff's starting to move around. I was going to just blow it off as not possible. Then as I was going by the garden, it looks like a teaser. We'll have to try it. Actually, I can see the crest of it right there. We may not be able to get in very close, but at least you get a little bit of a look at it. After these rain showers go through, all you're going to see is steam, even if we do get over it anyway. That's all that heat. After a rain shower, it's just a big steam pot.
yours and who are mine? To children who are yours.
See a little bit of steam coming off the ground here. This little building, what's left of it, was camp number 7. They had all these different camps when the volcanologists were using during the different phases of this thing. Yeah, still just a little bit too tough for me in there, but getting close.
There's great potential in their hearts and minds. They only need a little kindness, patience and guidance to help them fly. Give every child a promise. Give them a chance and see. Each one is very special. Be part of their dream. In every child lies a future. Teach them the past so they can find their way. Life's greatest lessons come from sharing. Each child's true knowledge will shine one day. In every child a promise. Give them a chance to see. Each one is very special. Be part of the dream. In every child there lies a promise.
And see this
In their hearts and minds.
lava that's got the little bit of vegetation going in it right there. That's 1977 lava, and it's already starting to regenerate a little bit there.
They will fly.
See these big flows over on the other side of the island there by Kona. That's 1855 flows, and there's hardly anything growing in those. That is the rain increases, you get more chances for things to start growing. And we get about 200 inches a year on this side of the island, so it don't take long for it to start coming back alive again. A friend of mine is always jokingly saying that you can grow a lawn on the top of your car here in Hilo. You see some of the ones that have been sitting around too long, that's exactly what happens too.
I took off for a weekend last month just to try to recall the whole year. All of the faces and all of the places, wondering where they all disappeared. I didn't ponder the question too long. I was hungry and I wanted a bite. Ran into a chum with a bottle of rum and we wound up drinking all night. With these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. With all of our running and all of our cunning, if we could laugh, we would all go insane. Reading departure signs in some bigger book reminds me of the places I've been. Visions of good times have brought so much pleasure, make me wanna go back again. If it suddenly ended tomorrow, I could somehow adjust to the fall. It's good times, riches, and son of a bitches. I've seen more than I can recall. With these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. With all of my running and all of our cunning, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane.
Every time I go to Pahoa, I always feel like I'm a victim of Mr. Peabody's wave-back machine, you know. I feel like I just stepped out of 1968 all of a sudden, you know, and all the Volkswagen pop-top bands sitting around there. As soon as you start talking to the surfers, though, you know you're okay, because instead of saying far out like they did in 68, now they're saying, oh, dude. See this area right here to the right that looks like a big swamp? Actually, if you walk around in there, it's not swampy at all. It's real rocky ground. Those little pools are just areas in the lava that have pooled the water. And this is the 1890 lava flow right here, and that's the reason for the low vegetation. And I get a little bit of a rainbow there off to our left front.
I can't look back too long. There's just too much to see waiting in front of me, and I don't think that I can go wrong. With these changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. All of my running and all of our cunning, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. We were all crazy, we would go insane. We were all crazy, we would go insane.
A lot of people ask me why these roads just go out there and stop all of a sudden. And I tell them that's where the economy stopped. There was free rent building going on out here, and then all of a sudden things started turning the other way. It went so fast, and for years there was houses sitting around here in the subdivision that were partially built, and they just stopped right where they were. And those have since, most of them been sold to somebody else, finished up, but when it crashed hard and fast.
Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. You'll find a way to say it all someday, yeah. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. Hey, night and day. Got your secrets, yeah, and I've got mine. We played this game now for a long, long time. You don't lean on anyone. You never had no place to run. Maybe I've always set my sights too high. You take the easy way and still get by. You know there ain't no special way. We all get there anyway.
Notice most of these houses have these little round tanks beside the house. That they're not into livestock here. That's the water system. There's no county water in this subdivision here, so they just run the rain gutters into these tubes that feed the tanks, and then put a shallow well pump and a filter system on it. You've got your water system. And it's not like you're having to wait for the next rain shower around here before you can do laundry. We get about 220 inches of rain a year.
I've heard about so far across the sea.
See these fields that are real small fields with the windbreak trees around them? Those are banana trees in there. The reason for the windbreak is that bananas don't do very well against the wind, so they put those up. They also do that around a lot of the orchards here because when the trade winds are blowing, they lose a lot of blossoms off of them. Those windbreak trees, those real tall pine trees, are Norfolk pines. They grow pretty fast, so it works out pretty good for a windbreak.
On that dreamland, and we'll have so much fun. We live together on that dreamland, and we'll have so much fun. We'll get our breakfast from the tree. We'll get our honey from the bees. We'll take a ride on the waterfall. We'll count the stars in the sky. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die.
You ever notice that the south end of the island there had no rivers at all? That was it's because geologically it's a little too new over there. As you move to the north and anywhere in the Hawaiian Island chain, the further north you go, the older it is. And this hill that's going down into the other side of Hilo Bay there is part of Mauna Kea. It's a lot older, so it's time for the soil to break down and start making a watershed. And the first river we'll come to is the one right here by the hospital.
We'll never die. Oh, what a time that will be. Oh, just you.
Is this a pier out into the water here, or just a land break?
It's a breakwater. And actually that was my next spiel here. And this, see this, got that big park area right there, and you got the lagoon. You see that round circle there for the lagoon, the blue roof building right there by it? That's the Tsunami Victims Memorial. We had a big tsunami come through here in 1946. It drowned about 300 people. Anyway, that got a lot of radio traffic here. Sorry about that. Anyway, there was a tsunami came through in 1946. It drowned about 300 people.
Clouds are things you can dream of.
Down the left is right there by the hospital is Rainbow Falls Park.
In a big red balloon, whistle your favorite tune. Fiddle-dee, faddle-dee, oop-dee-doo. You have a dream, I know you do.
Anyway, getting back to the thing about the breakwater there, they had another tsunami came through town in 1960. That one kind of missed the end of the breakwater that they'd built to help out on that situation, and it reflected off the wall, and then that's how we ended up with that big park area there. That's the part of town that was destroyed in 1960, and they decided to never rebuild it again.
Singing, I may a cowboy, a breed of which is only one. I may a cowboy, cowboy second to none. On the snow-covered top of Mauna Kea, to the beautiful beaches below. Oh, he rides across the beds of green grasses, from sun up till the sun sinks down low. Singing, I may a cowboy, a breed of which is only one. I may a cowboy.
See all the cattle out there in the field right there. A lot of ranching going on in this area, but compared to over in Waimea where the Parker Ranch is, this is pretty small scale. That's the largest ranch in America over there. This area here where the this rainforest we're coming on right here is looks like a totally natural forested area, but a lot of it isn't quite natural because the dominant species of trees here originally was the the sandalwood tree, and now what you're seeing is koa and ohia trees because the sandalwoods were all cut out of here between the years of 1800 and 1840. When Captain Cook got to the island, he had a lot of nifty stuff with him that the Alii hadn't seen before, and they said, wow, how can we get that? And he, of course, being the friendly Brit that he was, said, cash will do fine. And they didn't have cash, but they had a lot of sandalwood trees, so they started cutting them and shipping them off the Orient to turn them into cash. And by the time they got done with that endeavor and ran out of sandalwood trees, they had a nice organized labor pool and a lot of cleared land, and so they started making deals with the sugar companies. And that's the short story of how Hawaii became a state. The sugar companies at that time had about the same amount of political and economic power in the world that the oil companies have right now.
It's the cowboy second to none.
Basically, if you were to have another government try to do in the world today what we did, we'd send our Air Force over there and slap them for it. This road that's coming up the hill right here ends at Akaka Falls State Park. This is Highway 220 off of Highway 19. That's Hanamu Village there. And if you haven't been here on the ground yet, even after you see it from there, I recommend coming out because there's a nice little botanical garden path down to the waterfalls. It takes about 15 minutes to walk to the overlook. And it's such a nice walk down there, it'd be worth it even if you didn't have the waterfall to see at the end of the trail there. Got another helicopter in the area here, and the bad part about it is I don't see him yet. Oh, there he is. We're okay. I don't mind lots of traffic as long as I know where it is. Yeah, we'll go down here and see if there's any dolphins along the shoreline. The whales usually get here right around Christmas, but so far they've been seeing them up further north in the North Islands, but we haven't seen any down in this area yet. This Highway 19 runs around the north side of the island here, and this little road that you can see along the edge of the cane fields right there is the 4-mile scenic loop. It's about, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles out of town. And that's kind of a nice little drive if you get a chance to take that. There's a cross that goes down in some of these little river valleys. It's the old highway basically, so you see a lot more stuff on it. That green roof building there at that odd-shaped intersection, the small one right out our door there now, is called What's Shakin'. That's my favorite place for calorie loading after I go swimming or diving. I go over there after I've burned that 500 calories. I go take on another 3,000 there. They got great smoothies there. Always have the nice healthy smoothie, and then I buffer that by having one of the baked goods or something, you know, kind of even it out there a little bit along with some Kona coffee. next bay here, just below the bridge, is Onamea Bay. That's a very popular surfing spot. Actually, I see a few people out there trying to catch that perfect wave right now.
Another man broke his word. Another man broke his word.
And right there on the edge of the lagoon, you can see the Tsunami Victims Memorial there. And get a little further along out the right, you'll be able to see Rainbow Falls just below the hospital. And if you want to check that one out, from anywhere downtown, just pick up the signs directing you to the hospital, and just before you get there, you'll see a sign that says Rainbow Falls Park. And after you get down on Rainbow Drive, get back out on the same street going up, and then the next park up there's Boiling Pots, and that's a real nice waterfall park to check out too.
Somebody's gonna have to pay. Oh, somebody's gonna have to pay. Somebody's gonna have to pay. And it looks like you and
another place you can look at photos and get information on the tsunamis around here. There's downtown there's a tsunami museum, and they got a lot of photos on the wall and a few stories about different events that happened in the tsunamis. My favorite is about this Hawaiian guy that went out of the house and was out of it, and they realized he'd left his wallet on the bedroom dresser, so he went back in the house to get it. By the time he found it and got back to the door, the house was out in the bay. So he tore a board off the roof and used that and surfed in on the next wave with his wallet in his teeth. And for the rest of his life, he told people he was the only Hawaiian he'd ever knew that knew how to hang on to his money.
another man broke his word.
Well, thanks a lot for flying with us today, and be sure and look around the cabin and don't add to my collection of sunglasses, lens covers, and camera cases. Enjoy your stay here on the Big Island. See everything, do everything, have a great time, but be careful out there in the water, and be even more careful out on the highway. And remember, it's bad luck to leave the island with any lava rock or uncashed traveler's checks. So you wouldn't want to be crossing all that water with bad luck. You might as well spend it all and have a good time while you're here.
They unfolded your lives one by one. They laid out your patchwork under the sun. And people gathered for miles around to witness your quilt spread on the ground. And then they called out your name. they called out your name, and you will live forever. Know that I'll be loving you just like a patchwork quilt. Ooh. Well, there were men and women, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, daughters and sons, and children and babies and lovers and friends. They all lay before me, sewn into one. And then they called out your name. Oh yes, they called out your name. And you will live forever. Know that I'll be loving you just like a patchwork quilt. Ooh. Your lives have meaning and your lives have joy. You touch so many people, many more than you know. And you wrap yourselves around me